Hello and welcome to Rivaled episode 19. I'm Bo, that's Jake, and let's not waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and get right into it and start breaking down week 11 of the college football season. So, first game on the list today is Cincinnati and East Carolina. Cincinnati goes into the game ranked 7, and they absolutely destroyed East Carolina, 55-17. I'd like to see Cincinnati.
Talk about defense.
Right. And if they keep this up and if they run the table and go undefeated, I'd really like to see Cincinnati in the college football playoff. They have to be in the conversation, right, Jake? Don't you think?
I can see that, yeah, especially if they run the table. Well, they got so the season's just started.
Well, they're 7-0.
Division.
They're 7-0.
Okay, see, they started early.
Yeah, right.
Because I watched the Michigan and Wisconsin game, and they're both like 1-0, 1-2, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, yeah, if they run the table on this, I could see them being a solid college football seed. I mean, You got Notre Dame at number 2. I think Alabama's number 1 right now.
Yep.
I could see them being a 4, but what does that lead to Ohio State?
I mean, Ohio State.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Right.
But everyone wants to see that Ohio State Clemson, Ohio State Alabama game. I understand where you're coming from, 100%. But I just feel like Cincinnati would be a cool this is our season type person.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like University of Central Florida is when they went 13-0. So most definitely I would love to see Cincinnati in there. What do you say it was, like 50-something to 17?
55-17. They also have a really good quarterback, Desmond Ridder, who's going to be on some NFL draft boards if he keeps up his pace. Not first rounder, but maybe early fourth rounder. Okay, and then the second game, number 2, Notre Dame, Boston College. It was close early, but then what usually happens in these games that are close in halftime, the second half, the better team just completely goes off. And Notre Dame was able to win this game 45-31. Ian Book, he's been looking a lot more comfortable lately. And they were able to avoid the Clemson hangover after a big emotional win. They were like, okay, cool, we beat Clemson. It's not going to mean anything if we don't beat Boston College. And they went in and they beat him. It was close at first because the quarterback on Boston College actually was on Notre Dame.
Okay, so he knows the system.
Right. And the quarterback for BC reminded me a little bit of Baker Mayfield when Oklahoma played Kansas, because the entire game, the quarterback for BC was just all up in the face of Notre Dame defenders, just trying to get, trying to maybe force them into a penalty or something like that, because he was salty. Because, he was supposed to start for Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. That's what Brian Kelly told him. And he found out he wasn't going to start, so he went to Boston College. And Boston College is actually doing pretty good. They're 5-4.
I'll say, yeah, they have a winning record right now, but it's not. It's like a 500 whatever. But
they'll be in a bowl game.
Do you think that they'll do good in this college football playoff? They'll play if it were to end right now, they'd play the 3, which I believe is
Ohio
Clemson,
State,
right?
Ohio State, Clemson's 4.
Clemson dropped to 4. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So as of right now, it'd be Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame. Wow.
Yeah.
So if they do make the college football playoffs, which obviously right now I think they're going to, unless they just fall off the face, how do you think they'll do? Do you think they'll win the game? Do you think they'll go to the championship?
I don't know. I really just think it'll be Alabama, just because the experience. Nick Saban is just a mastermind. The thing is, honestly, dude, I think Notre Dame, if they only lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, they should be in. Because if they lose like 2 games, then obviously they're not going to be in. But if they lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, they'll still be in. But if they beat Clemson, they might actually be the number 1, depending on how Alabama and Florida finish.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You gotta think about where Alabama's going to end up on that one too.
Right. And then also that brings me into the next game, Florida and Arkansas. Florida 63, Arkansas 35. And before the season, Jake, I'll be honest, I had never heard of Kyle Trask. Did you hear of him before the season?
No, it sounded like Kyle Trash. I'm gonna be honest with you, because like you
Kyle
said, man, I
Trask.
haven't heard of him either. I haven't
Yeah.
heard of him either.
But yeah, I
But
mean, looking at his stats for today's game, man, 23 for 29, 356 yards, six touchdowns. He's thrown 4 in every game so far, 6 touchdowns. Wow. And they even took him out before the fourth quarter.
Okay, so I saw on ESPN or whatever. Could you see Kyle Trask being a Heisman contender?
Yeah, definitely. He has to be in the conversation. Like I said before we started the podcast, if they were playing the full season this year, he'd be on pace to beat Joe Burrow's single season SEC touchdown record. He'd be on pace for like 63, and Burrow had 60.
Wow.
So yeah.
He's not a senior this year, is he?
He is a senior. He is a senior.
Oh,
he's
wow.
a senior.
Do you think he comes back for a 5th year?
No.
I mean,
I have him top 5 in my draft.
Okay, but who's in your top 5? So for our mock draft, which we'll be doing, I believe on Monday night or Tuesday night here in this coming week.
Like that.
And we can talk more about that. But who is in your top 5 as quarterbacks, or not quarterbacks, but like teams right now? Obviously, number 1 is the Jets, but where do you see Kyle Trask going?
I have Kyle Trask going number 4 to the Falcons.
Okay.
I think Matty Ice will be traded to the Bears, and then they'll be wanting a fresh face, something new, and then they'll bring in Kyle Trask. I was like, well, at first I put Trey Lance there, and then I was like, well, they probably want someone that resembles Matt Ryan a little more, and Kyle Trask, he's 6'6", and so he's a little taller than Matt Ryan, but they still have the same style of play. But Trey Lance is more like a dual threat quarterback, and that's why I have him going number 5 to Washington instead, because Ron Rivera had a quarterback like that with Cam Newton in Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we'll talk more about that in the coming week about our mock draft, whatever. Right. But okay, I'll hold you to that. I'll see how I make up my mock draft just to see what similarities, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be fun to compare. But yeah, no, the SEC championship, if we get a Florida and Alabama game, that's going to be fun. It'll be like crazy offense against crazy defense. I mean, you put up 63 points in the SEC, you must be doing something right.
Right. Missouri should take notes.
Right. Next game on the list, Miami, number 9, going up against unranked Virginia Tech. Miami won 25-24. Derek King struggled a little bit early, but they were able to make up for the mistakes and just squeak out a victory. Virginia Tech had some clock management issues at the end. I don't know if you did you see the game? I knew you've been working all day.
No, I didn't see the game. Yeah. I didn't even see any of the highlights on the Scott Van Pelt show because the game came on.
Yeah.
But no, the thing is with clock management, man, that's a quarterback's job, in my opinion. A lot of people will say that it's a head coach. No, the quarterback is the one who runs the field. He's the field general, is what they call it. Like, he's got to know what to do with how much time, this and that. Like, you can put it set in stone. You got to know what you're doing to win these games. And I think Virginia Tech just didn't do that in this.
Yeah, no, there was like a minute 20 left in the game, and I don't know if they were unaware that the clock was running, but they didn't have any timeouts, and they kind of just stood there for like 20 seconds just staring at the sideline waiting for like the play call. And then they got sacked anyway. So then they had to do like a bunch of crazy Hail Marys, and so they had a chance. And the kicker has a big leg too, but they just couldn't take advantage of the opportunity that they had. And now that brings me into the next game, Indiana and Michigan State. Now, if I told you that Indiana would be 4-0 in Big Ten play and be number 10 in the nation for the season, would you believe me?
If it was like 1966.
Yeah, right. That's the last time they were relevant.
Exactly. So, honestly, no. But at the same time, you said Michigan State, I know. I
Yeah,
just want to go to the Michigan side of things up in Ann Arbor. Wisconsin is ranked. I think they're 11th,
yeah,
like
the
or
13,
13th.
13. Yeah.
Yeah, 13th. Um, could were you surprised that Wisconsin is relevant right now?
No, they're always pretty solid.
Yeah,
They're
but
the
they're
thing
not
about.
this solid in Big Ten play.
I mean, they've only played 2 games, so they're 2-0.
I'm talking about like in past seasons right now.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, their head coach, forget his name, but they were talking about him on the broadcast tonight of how they don't really get many 4 or 5 star recruits. He just kind of gets uses what he has. And I mean, they destroyed Michigan today. Wisconsin was
Oh my
amazing.
god. They put in their backup quarterback. I was like, that's when you
They
know
did. They did.
Harbaugh's got to be gone, man.
Oh,
Harbaugh is out.
yeah. But yeah, no, that
He's
brings us
out.
back to Indiana as well. I mean, they're for real. And they have a big game next week. And that'll decide who takes control of one of I think it's the West or the East, one of them. But
Something like that,
whoever,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then if they'd be in control of their own destiny to play in the Big Ten championship. Next
I would like
game.
to see that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that would be really cool.
I would.
Indiana, Ohio State, that'd be a fun one. Oregon and Washington State. I mean, 43-29, nothing really much to say. The Pac-12 is just starting their season in week 11, which is so weird. They played 2 games in 11 weeks. Ridiculous. But, Oregon's 2-0. Who cares? Doesn't really matter because they're only going to play like 6 games. So, and
Right.
that move,
Nothing to it.
yeah. And so now Wisconsin and Michigan. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I did watch this game.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to watch that, man. I watched it
Hey,
too.
I was rooting for the Badgers in that one. It's all right.
Yeah.
Because this is my hot take. I'm going to say Tuesday. By Tuesday or Wednesday, give or take, John Harbaugh will be fired.
Jimmy. I
Oh,
get
it's
them
Jim
mixed up
Harbaugh?
too. Yeah.
Man, Harbaugh will be fired.
Yeah, one of them.
I personally think we talked about this a little bit too. It was kind of like a what if type thing, but if Harbaugh quits or gets fired, man, I even asked you. I said, what comes first, Harbaugh quits or gets fired? Is where Adam Gase for the New York Jets gets fired, and they bring him in to coach or whatever. But
Yeah.
you got to have Trevor Lawrence at the start there. So
Yeah. That'd be
so
fun.
what if there's a lot of
Yeah.
NFL coaches that'll be on the hot seat this offseason as well. But no, Harbaugh needs out. He wasn't the same coach when he was with San Francisco. He needs out.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I mean, he's 3-3 against Michigan State, and he's 0-5 against Ohio State. So, I mean, the thing is, when you're a coach at Michigan, you're basically three big goals. You want to beat Ohio State, you want to win the Rose Bowl, and win a national championship. He hasn't done any of that. I know it's only a 6th season, but still, the expectations were so high whenever he was hired there because they were struggling with Brady Hoke and some other guys that just kind of came in and left, didn't do much. It's been a real letdown, and it's not like he's not getting recruits. He's getting a lot of really good players that come to play for Michigan, but it's just not working out on the field. And this season has really been the low. And yeah, no, he's got to be done. But good for Wisconsin. Can't forget about the team that actually won.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, brings into the next game. Marshall beating Middle Tennessee 42-14. It was nice to see Marshall come out with a big win. Today was actually the 50th anniversary of when the plane crashed and 75 fans, players, and coaches lost their lives. So I bet they were playing with a little extra motivation. And 42-14. They looked really good. I bet they made Randy Moss smile as he was watching this game.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most
So,
definitely.
I mean, they're 16. It's kind of hard to judge Conference USA teams this year. I mean, it always is hard to judge them, but especially when they're just playing their conference. But, I mean, 7-0, I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Next one, battle in the American Conference. A bit of an upset here. Tulsa beat SMU 28-24.
Mm.
Um, the American Conference is slowly but surely trying to make itself at least be not just
Somewhat relatable.
right. Well, just not like in the conversation of the college football playoff. Like we should be in the college football playoff because you look at the Pac-12, man, and the Pac-12 is just a joke. It's just not. I mean, you have Oregon and USC, which is so they're overrated every year. But
Oh yeah,
do you
they
think? Do you
haven't
think?
been relevant since Matt Weinert.
Right, right. Do you think realistically that like in the next like 3 years we could see an American Conference team go to the college football playoff? I'm not saying win it, just go to it.
I think if everyone, so experts, you could say, gets over the fact that Ohio State isn't always that good, they just play weak teams. Yes, I could see that, but I'm not. I'm gonna up you. I'm gonna say within the next 5 years, only
Yeah,
because you got high school players coming out right now, going to their respected colleges. I could see most definitely them making a, not even just like a bowl game necessarily, but like you said, going to college football playoffs. I
yeah,
would love to see that, especially as
that'd
an
be great.
underdog mentality. You know.
Yeah. Now this might be getting a little off track, but I think we have time for this. I've always thought that the college football playoff should be 8 teams. Okay,
Hmm.
now let me know what you think about this format. So you have 8 teams. The Power Five champions get an automatic bid. It's like SEC, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, Pac 12. They automatically get in, and then the committee selects the best group of five team. So whether it be a Conference USA or American Conference or the Mountain West Conference, just one of the best group of five team. Like this year, it'd be Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And then the committee chooses 2 at-large teams. So teams that did not win their conference, but are still going to get in the playoff. So like last year, it'd be like Alabama or Penn State a couple of years ago when they won the
Mm-hmm.
conference and didn't make it. So something like that. So then you have, and then the committee chooses the seeds. So like 1 versus 8, 4, 5, 3, 6, 2, 7. And then
Hmm.
also they talk about how because of the college football playoff, it really devalues bowl games.
Right.
Like, the Rose Bowl isn't included in the football playoff. And like, what's the point of like winning the Rose Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the New Year's Six being the tournament games, like the Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, all those ones, Orange Bowl. Um, those being the tournament games, and then also like the semifinals, and you just rotate
Right.
which one's going to be. And then the seventh game is the national championship. So you have 8
Okay.
teams, 6 bowl games, 1 national championship.
I actually like that a lot. Um, the way, okay, so it's kind of like a Elite Eight type thing. If this was like
Yeah,
college basketball, I do like that because not the at large, but the one before that you said, the people who didn't win their conference or whatever, or like,
yeah,
what,
that one.
what if? I do like what you said, but like how they did with the NBA bubble this year, they had 2 teams as a play-in game, where if you win, you're in. What if
Yeah,
they did something like that with the 2 teams, like because
maybe.
where they're like evenly matched as is, like they're kind of low ranking, but they play against each other to
Yeah,
determine who goes in.
that'd be kind of cool. I could see that.
Yeah, I do
But
like that.
also, thank you. But also with this format too, I think you might have to drop a regular season game just
Hmm.
because these college students, they don't need to be playing like 17, 18 games a year.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think you just drop a game, and I bet they'd be more than willing to sacrifice one game for more chances to
Yeah.
win the playoff. Anyway, yeah, no, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I do
I
like
could see
that.
that.
I do like that.
Thanks. And then that brings us into
You,
the
you
next game
should you should
here.
write that up and send it to
I should,
commissioner.
I'll just play this clip and be like at NCAA.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next game, USC and Arizona. USC owes Arizona some money because they let them win this game. They had 2 drives inside the 5 that they did not score a single point. So they went all the way down the field, got the ball inside the 5. One time they were at the half-yard line, and they didn't score. They had a muffed punt. They had basically everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but Arizona could not take advantage of it.
Wow.
So then they were up at the end of the fourth quarter, but USC, they had a game-winning drive and barely squeaked out a win against a super inferior opponent. So, I mean, do you think USC's back? Do you think USC's back?
No.
No, they're not back.
Hear me out on this. The last relevant person to come out of Arizona, can you name it for me?
Gronk.
The last relevant person to come out of Arizona.
Scooby Wright was good too, but he didn't do anything in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. Relevant person in the NFL.
True.
Wow. That's crazy. Arizona needs some work, man.
They do, yeah. Next game, number 22, Liberty, absolutely destroyed Western Carolina, 58-14. Trivia question: do you know who is the head coach of Liberty?
I don't even know what I had for breakfast, man.
Hugh Freeze. Does that sound familiar?
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I bet it does.
It does, but I can't place it.
He coached Ole Miss when they went to the Peach Bowl. He recruited Laramie Tunzel, Bo Wallace, A.J. Brown.
Oh, my God.
Really good players.
Yeah.
However, he was suspended and then subsequently fired because apparently he was paying his players or offering some sort of incentives.
That's another topic we can talk about.
Right. So he's been out for a bit, but this was his first year back coaching. And Liberty, have you ever heard of Liberty before this year?
Yeah, I have.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Thanks to the NCAA basketball tournament, but yeah.
Right. Their quarterback.
Liberty,
really
you said 22?
Yeah, they're 22. Their quarterback, Malik Willis, today had 306 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, actually 5 total touchdowns with the 2 running. And then he also rushed for almost 100 yards. So
that's like
Liberty
is Kyler Murray
8-0.
type.
Right, person. It is Kyler Murray. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, they're looking good. And then also there was speculation that Hugh Freeze, after this year, would go to, like, a Power 5 school. They were talking about, like, maybe Mizzou or Arkansas, something like that. But he actually just signed a 6-year deal.
Kansas needs a lot of help, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, Les Miles, he's actually has a plan at Kansas. They're just starting fresh. They have so many freshmen and sophomores starting this year. That's why they're.
I've watched a little bit of it. I watched them get slaughtered by Oklahoma, though. And all I saw was, like, freshman and sophomore. I was like, do we not have any, like, juniors playing right now? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, Liberty's a fun story. We'll see how they can do. I mean, they shouldn't be close to the football playoff just because their opponents are so bad. But, it'd be cool if they go undefeated. So then the next game is 23 Northwestern against unranked Purdue. Northwestern won this one by a touchdown.
I did see that. They're looking pretty good this year, actually.
Yeah.
I'm quite surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Northwestern is weird. Like, they always start off hot, and then they kind of slow down towards the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, like you said, towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot for them right now, only because they've kind of played some weaker teams at this point.
Right.
But at the same time, it's Big Ten, correct?
Yep, Big Ten, baby.
Yeah, you have a ton of powerhouses. Like, for instance, Wisconsin and Indiana. They're surprised this year for me.
Ohio State, always.
Ohio State, yeah, everybody. So,
used to be Michigan.
Wait, who? Yeah.
Okay. I said it used to be Michigan.
And I said, wait, who? Like, because
I got you.
come on now.
Yeah. So then the last top 25 game today that was played was UL Lafayette, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns against South Alabama, and Louisiana killed them 38-10.
Yeah, that's not surprising right there.
Yeah, no.
Raging Cajuns have actually put on quite a show this year.
Yeah,
I've watched a couple of their games on like ESPN or whatever, and they look like a solid team. Their quarterback's really nice, run game. I could see them doing damage in a bowl game if they continue playing how they are.
Yeah, no, they're 7-1. Their schedule, I mean, it's the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that should be fine. Yeah, but the thing is, there are so many postponed top 25 games, postponed and canceled. Alabama, LSU postponed, Texas A&M, Tennessee postponed, Georgia, Missouri postponed, Auburn, Mississippi State postponed, Coastal Carolina and Troy postponed, and then Ohio State and Maryland was canceled. So you're telling me Ohio State is going to play like 7 or 8 games? They're going to be in the playoff? Please, come on.
That's like your story today.
Seriously, dude. Oh my gosh. That's like if an NFL team played like 11 games and everybody else played 15, 16. They still let him in the playoffs. There's just, I mean, it's 3 or 4 less games for your stud player to get hurt. That's 3 or 4 less games to lose, to have a bad game and lose. I'm telling you, man, they should. I'm surprised it's not a bigger deal that other players and other coaches are calling for Ohio State not to be in it. So maybe it's not that big of a deal.
I understand what you're saying on that, and I don't mean to interrupt you because my bad.
Good.
But what if they haven't said anything yet, only because they're waiting towards the end of the season?
Maybe, yeah, that could be. But still, like sometimes I'm like, well, this is awful. This is a disgrace to the game that these guys play the whole season, right? So I'm surprised that Cincinnati isn't like, well, Ohio State. I mean, we've already played more games than Ohio State's going to play the entire year,
right?
you know. So I mean, so it's like, well, what's the point of us just faking everybody gets COVID so we don't have to play the rest of the games? Then we magically get better for the playoff.
I mean, you get COVID, you don't get paid.
Right. But
top 25 had some great games today.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They were fun. Yeah. Tulsa and SMU was probably the closest. Well, USC and Arizona was good too.
Right.
Also, according to our friends at USA Today, these are the top 10 performers. I'll go ahead and just read some of these off. Yeah, so we got Sam Howell, number 1, North Carolina quarterback. He'll probably be a top 5 pick, not in this year's draft, but next year's draft. We already went through his stats. I mean, 7 total touchdowns, 550 yards, 59-53 win for the Tar Heels. And then number 2 on their list is Kyle Trask. I mean, we talked about his stats before. 400 yards, 6 touchdowns. Amazing. Ty Freifogel. Yeah, no, I saw this. I saw some of his highlights today. 11 passes for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's looking really good. Caleb Huntley.
Benched right after that.
Right. Can you imagine?
They can't handle this.
Yeah. Man. And then Caleb Huntley from. Wow, these guys should be number 1. Ball State. 204 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. So it's Wednesday night and some action. 38-31 for Ball State. Fresno State, the college of Derek Carr. Jalen Cropper, a wide receiver. He had more catches and more receiving yards than the entire United States than the entire Utah State's receivers. And then we talked about Malik Willis from Liberty. Darrell White, linebacker, Cincinnati, had a big game. 7 tackles, a sack, and then a pick 6. Frank Harris from University of Texas at San Antonio. 22 for 26, 312 yards and 3 touchdowns. Shakur Brown, Michigan State, cornerback. He had 2 interceptions and he had 6 tackles. And then Daz Newsome, North Carolina, Sam Howell's favorite target, had a big game. 10 receptions, almost 200 yards and a couple TDs. So
10 yards. That sounds
those
like
are those are the official USA Today top 10 performers from Week 11 in college football. Anything else we want to talk about tonight or this morning? It's like 2 a.m. here on the East Coast.
It's about 20 till 2 right here, Central.
Yeah.
One thing that you kind of mentioned earlier with Hugh Freeze of paying players, man. This has been the biggest debate in college football, college basketball, college sports anywhere. Should college athletes be paid to play?
Yes.
I think so too. I think so because you're coming in from, let's just say, for example, I'm wearing KU right now. Udoka Abuzuki came over from Africa, dominant center.
My favorite KU player.
I loved him. Hope he's a top 20 in the draft.
Yeah.
Which is Tuesday. Man, that draft is Tuesday, man. Oh, I gotta watch
Tuesday
that.
or Wednesday. Yeah.
But no, I think let's just say if it was him, and he came over from little to nothing in Africa, and came over to play, and you're getting paid to play and paid to go to college, scholarship. Why does it matter? You're gonna get paid to play in the NBA. I mean, it's just you gotta play 1 year in college for sure. So I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's relevant for players to come over. Like that's part of scouting. Be like, hey, we'll pay you XYZ amount of money if you come play for us. You know,
right?
Endorsements, brands, go for it.
Yeah.
Here's
my
pissed off.
Yeah. No, you good. Here's my idea on how college football players or just college athletes should be paid. So you take the revenue of your school. Okay, so if I were a college football player at University of Michigan, for instance, okay, I would be entitled to an even share of everybody else on the team, no matter if I was a starting quarterback or the receiver, to a part of the revenue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like so let's say the revenue was like $100 million. I bet it's more than that, but $100 million, 5%. Everybody on the team gets 5%, no matter if it's the quarterback or the third string long snapper. Okay,
right.
Heisman winner, long string, yeah. But these players will be eligible for endorsements as well. So that's how the big name guys will get their money, and they ensure that it won't get corrupt.
Right.
With like Florida giving so and so $100 million contract for 4 years, because then it's like, well, I mean, that's kind of why we watch the pros, is for the contracts and stuff. But yeah, no, these college athletes should definitely be paid, because I mean, yeah, I know they're getting scholarships and stuff like that, but a lot of the kids in college that have scholarships, they have time for regular jobs to earn themselves money. I mean, you think, Christian McCaffrey had time to work at Taco Bell when he was busy, getting 200 scrimmage yards a game for Stanford? No.
I mean, hey, might as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, no, college athletes should definitely get paid. And then same for college basketball. You just take the total revenue that your school generates for that sport, and then everybody on the squad gets a share. Same with like women's lacrosse or whatever. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Well, I think that's all we have.
That's
all we have.
I think it is too.
Yeah, what is it? 15 till 2, almost 2 o'clock there, man. 3 o'clock, my bad. For everyone, appreciate you guys listening, joining us. We appreciate you guys all so much. Share with your friends, like, subscribe, share, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. That's awesome. Rival Sports Talks on all social handles. We appreciate you guys. Have a great night.
Adios.